So we start off with the first session, which is the introduction. And whenever I learn any particular tool or any platform or anything new, the questions that arise to me is I need to have the understanding of four questions. So that's what I've highlighted in the screen. So what am I learning? And who is going to utilize this tool, and why we are going to learn this tool, and why this tool is going to be useful for us and for the business, and how we are going to build this particular tool once we understand the what, who, and why. So basically, in the introduction session, my focus is more to simplify these questions to you guys so that you understand the advantages and the disadvantages of adaptive planning, and why you are learning this, and why the businesses are facing problems in the current EPM tools, whatever they are using, and how the adaptive planning is solving their issues. Okay, so we will focus more on the questions of what you see in the screen, which is what, who, why, and how. And then we will be learning a basic overview about what are the foundational elements of adaptive planning. So you can see there are 8 elements listed down one below the other, and we will be having a business case, just a simple business case, to understand what challenges are coming. And this business case will definitely help you on the long run to try to understand and relate each concept that we are going to learn today. Sounds good? So the tenant on which you're working has some financial data. So your organization or your client is generating some kind of a revenue, it's generating some kind of a cost, and it will be having a profit and loss statement, correct? So
Yes.
it's a financial data where there will be certain kind of exercise, certain kind of analysis, certain kind of different kind of forecasting that they will be required to do. Correct. So that's why such tools are very important so that it delivers the right results to the company. Basically, you can utilize your Excels, you can utilize any other EPM tool, but why adaptive planning is important and solves a lot of issues, we will be covering that. Okay. So let's take a simple example. Let's take a simple example that you guys, so you three are building a business together. So you are based out of US. So let's say, so let me just pick up one example. So let's say Kobe is from US, Andrew is from US, but Brian is from Australia. Okay. And I am from India. So we four people are there. We are working on a business model. Okay. So we have different countries, right? So two people are working from US, one person is working from India, one person is working from Australia. So what is our business model? Our business model is very simple. So we are purchasing laptops, we are purchasing mobile phones, we are purchasing TV units. Okay, so we are purchasing these products at from our vendors, and we are selling those products at a margin to our customers. Okay, so let's say we bought X number of products in January month, and we sold Y number of products, and then we are generating some kind of a profit or some kind of a loss. Okay, month on month basis we are doing this. Okay, any questions on our business model? It's very simple. We are buying from the vendors and we are selling to the customers. It's a very simple business model. Any questions?
Yeah. No questions.
No
Okay, perfect.
question.
So
No.
let's say Brian in Australia wants to keep a track that in Australia how much sales he's doing, how much profit and loss he's making, right? So, and same goes with me. I want to do the same analysis in the region of India. So I will be the in charge of India location, and then Andrew and Kobe will be the in charge of US region, and they will be generating a Excel file. So let's say we are generating an Excel file. So if we are working in an Excel file, what we will do, we will just create a simple Excel file. So let's say we are working on the January to for December month of actual. So we are this. So you can see we create a simple Excel file of previous year's data. So we write down how many products we purchase in the month of January. So you will see that number of products purchased, we write 100 products were purchased. So we write then the purchase price. What was the purchase price for quantity? I write as $5,000. Okay, so then we get the total purchase price. So you will see what is the total purchase price. It is nothing but this into this. So you will see the formula is written here. Okay. Similarly, you will keep a track that in how many in January month, how many products you sold and at what price you sold them, and then you get the total selling price, which is this into this. So you will see that the formula writing has been done in this particular cell. Okay. So what is the profit? If I just click on here, you will see that your profit is this minus this, and you're making a $60,000 profit in that particular month. Okay. So let's say in India, I am doing this. In Australia, I am doing, Brian is doing this. And in Andrew, USA, in USA, Andrew is working on this template. Okay. So in every region, this particular Excel file will be worked on month basis, and then you will be generating a forecast. Okay. Is this clear? What it's a very simple Excel model that we are trying to generate. Okay. Is this
Yep.
clear
Yep.
what we are trying to do? So this is nothing but you are recording your actuals data. So if you see, this is 2022 data. Okay, so this is the 2022 data, and you have generated so much profit and loss in this particular months. So now what you can do is you can do a proper forecasting, you can do a proper budgeting, whatever scenarios you have in your mind. So from January to December 2023, you will utilize the previous year's data to see how much you can work on more, and how you can increase the profit or how you can decrease the loss. Correct. So let's say in the month of January 2023, you come here and you think that in the last year, in the same month, you made a profit of 60,000. So now your target is to increase this particular profit by certain margin. So you will plan accordingly. Correct. So that's why you
Yes.
plan something in the month of January in such a way that you get a larger profit than you did in the last year. So what is this? We are just doing a forecasting activity from your looking at your actual data. So far, so good?
So far, so good.
Yes.
So far, so good.
Yes, perfect. Now let's say we go into the February month in the 2023, and we look back in our previous year's data, and we make come to know that we made a loss. We made a huge loss. So we understand why we did that loss, because we purchased a lot of products, but we were not able to sell them. Okay. So if you see, the gap is such huge, and that's why we made a big loss. So that's why the forecast of February should be made in such a way that you at least don't make a loss, or you do something creative in your business so that you are able to sell all the products that you have brought. Okay. So the numbers can be anything. It's your data entry kind of thing. So you are going to do data entry, and you will see the changes that will happen. So it's just a what if scenarios that you are creating. You just keep on coming and change the numbers and see what is profit you are making. Okay. So if you notice, the moment I'm changing any numbers, your profit and loss is changing, right? So this is nothing but you're doing a forecast kind of thing based on your actuals data. Correct.
Yes.
Okay. So now tell me a simple question. So let's say in Australia there are several cities here. Okay. So there could be several stores in your cities. So Brian will not be able to handle several stores at one time. Correct. So he will
Yes.
require some manpower to handle that. Correct.
Yep.
Yes, the moment he requires a lot of manpower, he understood that there are several cities in Australia. So you require several stores in Australia, and then you require several manpowers to handle that particular store. So he requires a manager of that particular store. He requires few sales representative of that store, right? So he will understand that as the business is growing for him, his problems are going to increase. Do you get my point? His problems is going
Yes.
to increase. So Brian was able to do it because when he started the business, there was only one store. So he was able to come here and do the data entry for one store. But the moment he started expansion, the moment his stores become 1 to 10 and 10 to 100, the problems will keep on rising. Correct. So he will not be able to keep a track on the Excel file, because this Excel file belongs to Australia, only one store. But you need to keep the track of 100 such stores for the Australia region. So Brian is going to face this kind of a problem, and that's how he realizes that he requires additional manpower and he requires a good platform so that he can record this particular data. Okay, because what will happen now is 100 stores, 100 people will be working, right? So there is a chances that many people will make mistakes in the Excel file. Correct. Let's say if in Australia there are 100 stores and there are 100 Excel files. Okay, then what will Brian do? He will try to collate all those 100 Excel files together so that he understand what is the data for Australia as a country. Do you get my point?
Yes.
Yes, and that is where Brian will come. That is where Brian will face problems, that he is not able to get the correct information from all the 100 stores because some people are doing some kind of mistakes in the Excel file. That's the problem he is going to face. So what will happen is Brian will focus more on the Excel files and less on the data. Okay, so his importance will only be revolving around that. Okay, I need to work on this Excel file for this store, then this Excel file for this store. So, additional manpower will be required to just hire, just that you just need to look at the Excel files, check whether the data is correct, check whether the formulas that they are mentioned are correct or not, check whether the computation is happening correct or not. So this is where your data is not reliable. Okay, now let me increase your more problems. Okay, so let's say Kobe is from United States, and in United States there are 200 stores. Let's say in India you are expanding the same business. In India there are 500 stores. So you see that your company's business has expanded a lot, and there are now almost 1000 stores over the world. So will you be able to keep a track on 1000 Excel files and then take consolidate them and then tell me that what is your overall profit generated for your company? Can you tell me that?
That'll be very difficult.
Correct. So you can tell that information, but it will be very difficult. It will be very time consuming process. It will take a long time, and it will be so slow that it becomes very tedious. Okay. So the problem is when you're doing budgeting, when you're doing forecasting, when you're doing analysis, you as a company, you require fast implementation. You require fast data. You require real time data. You require real time analysis. So it is not possible in an Excel file to handle that. So you're getting the business case, what's happening. So you need
Yes.
to understand this business case, and then you need to understand that the moment you expand the business, the problems are also going to increase for you. Correct. And this is where adaptive planning comes into picture, where you are expanding the business, and this adaptive planning as a tool will act as a EPM tool for you, and it will solve the purpose within few minutes. That's the beauty of adaptive planning. So that's why I wanted to cover this example for you. And with this example, I wanted to tell you how the problems will keep on increasing for you, and then how adaptive planning is going to solve this particular problem. So far, so good. Any questions?
So far, so good.
Okay, perfect, perfect.
Nothing here.
So, yes, go ahead.
I said nothing here.
Sorry?
No questions.
Okay, perfect. So I think this example you should remember in your mind, because we will utilize this example throughout the lectures whenever we get a chance. Okay.
Okay.
So just imagine that you have this particular Excel file that you're maintaining on a yearly basis, which has different months, and you're recording certain expenses, certain revenue, and certain profit and loss in the end. And based on the actual data, you're going to do some forecasting. Okay. But then the problem becomes, we have different cities, we have different stores, we have different countries, and we have different Excel files. So it is not really possible, right? So it's a very time consuming process. So now let's go back and let's try to understand these points now. Okay, let's try to understand why adaptive planning. Okay, so when you try to understand what problems were coming, so the first thing problem was coming is this. So if you focus on the second line, which says easy, powerful, and fast. So this is an adaptive certification question. What are the three key functionalities of adaptive planning? What are the three key power functionalities? So the answer to that is easy, powerful, and fast. So the first question is, it is very easy to use. Okay, so adaptive planning, it is very simple tool. you can, it is as good as this Excel file. So you can see this is an Excel file. This exact replica will be created in adaptive planning. There will be no changes. It will be similar to this, and the output will look similar to that. So, we are users where we are very, used to Excel files a lot. So we are familiar with the Excel file, and the moment we try to shift to another tool, it becomes very difficult. So unless that tool is very simple to use, the reluctance will not be there. You agree, right? So let's say if your company head is coming and telling you that, okay, you were doing this in an Excel file, now you have to do in Oracle, you have to do in SAP, or you have to do in Workday. So Oracle, SAP, or Anaplan, it is very, very difficult, guys. But adaptive planning is very, very simple and very easy to configure also, very easy to implement also, and very easy to utilize also. So that's why this is the most fundamental feature of adaptive planning, that it is very simple, it is very easy. Okay, so that's the first point. So you can easily create models, you can easily enter the data in the models, you can easily create reports, you can easily create charts, dashboards, and based on this data you can definitely create simple charts. So let's say if you want to create a chart on this particular thing, so in Excel file you create this particular thing, right? So you have this recommended charts, you have this pivot tables, and so many things you have, right, in an Excel file. So similarly, in adaptive, with this particular data, you can build several charts, several dashboards, several reports, several pivot tables also. So it's very, very simple, and that's why this is the first point, that it is very easy to use, and we will learn how that why adaptive planning is easy to use. Any questions on the first part, which is easy?
No.
Okay, so easy is okay. So let's say we are going to move to the next one, which is powerful. Okay, so why powerful? Why adaptive planning is powerful? So the answer to this question is, you tell me any problem, you tell me any financial scenario, if you tell me any kind of what if analysis that you want to do with the data, you tell me anything that you're working in the Excel file, it is possible to do it in adaptive planning. It is that powerful. So let's say you have writing some kind of formulas here. So you can see we are writing this formula, writing B7 into B8 in Excel file. The similar thing can be done in adaptive planning also. So you can write n number of formulas. You can see that there are several functions in Excel file. So you will see we have so many functions coming out right now here, right? So we have this concatenation kind of thing. So every such kind of thing that you see in an Excel file can be possible in adaptive planning also. So whatever features you are able to cover in Excel file, the maximum thing you will be able to do in adaptive planning, and that's why this is powerful. Okay, the second reason why this particular tool is powerful is you can link one model to another. So let's say you have several other models, you have 5 models, and those 5 models can be linked together into one particular model. Okay, so these are called as interconnected models. So in adaptive planning, interconnected models is definitely possible. So in Excel file, how we do it, we use VLOOKUP, right? So we use VLOOKUP kind of thing, and we try to VLOOKUP match this particular account and bring the value from other sheet to this sheet, correct? So in adaptive, we call them as interlinkages of model, where you are linking this data from other sheets also. So that's why this particular tool is very powerful, that you can model anything, model everything, and model so quickly that you can easily get the data in also, and with that data you can do reporting with that. And also you can club 2 models together, club 4 models together, and have interconnected P&L statement also. So let's say you are generating a final financial statement, which is your income statement, and you are having profit and loss to be recorded, and the profit and loss is flowing from different other models. Okay, so let's say from Australia the model is flowing, from India the model is flowing, and from USA the model is also flowing. So that can be definitely taken care by adaptive planning as a tool, and that's why it is so powerful. Okay, so formulas can be written, interlinkages of models can be done, and you can model anything and everything. Okay, so that's the reason why adaptive planning is the most powerful tool. Okay, any questions on the second point, which is powerful? Feel free to ask.
Yeah, nothing here.
Yes, because it is
Good.
very important to understand this line, because uh, all the questions, there could be certain questions that what is the difference between anaplan and adaptive, what is the difference between oracle and adaptive. So this is the difference, guys, what I'm trying to tell you. So easy,
Okay.
powerful, and fast, all kind of things are the USP of adaptive planning, which you will not be able to get in any other tool. Okay, so the third USP is that it is very fast. Okay, it is so fast that, let's say you want to change the logic of this particular thing, you want to change the logic, you just enter that logic and the data will be reflecting according to that. So it adapts a lot to the changes that you are demanding. So let's say you want to do the forecasting of the next year, which is 2024, or the next year 2025, or even the next year 2026. So this model will quickly adapt to that, and it will give you the outcome, and you can do forecasting activity within few seconds. So that is why it is so fast. It is easy to make any kind of changes in the model, and you will see that the data is reflecting very quickly. So basically you know this is why reforecasting or what if analysis, because we control it through versions. And if you are doing some kind of budgeting, and let's say you make certain changes in the data, it will be reflecting, the new data will be reflecting in the charts also, in the pivot tables also, in the dashboards also. So that's why it is very fast. You make changes here, and everything that is dependent on that will be reflecting with the new changes. So it's not that in Excel file you will always come to know that if you're making changes here, then you need to make changes somewhere else also, right? Because you cannot make it interlinked, or if you make it interlinked, then the sheet will become very complex. But in adaptive, it is very simple. It is very simple, it is very fast, and it is very powerful. So that's the USP of adaptive planning. And you should understand that the three USP is easy, powerful, and fast. And this will be a interview question also, and this will be a certification question also. Okay, so any
All right.
questions? Yeah, any questions here?
Nothing there.
Okay, perfect. Now I will jump. Now you've understood this particular thing. Now I will try to make you understand why this is collaborative and continuous process. Okay, so let's say you have a sales team. Let's say you have an operations team. Let's say you have a marketing team. Okay, so every particular team in your company is doing certain kind of planning. Okay, but the problem is they are not able to interact with each other. They are not able to see the data of each other, and that's why you're not able to make a better decision at the company level. Okay, so this is where this tool becomes a very collaborative tool for each and every section. So let it be a finance section, let it be admin section, let it be IT people, let it be sales people, let it be marketing people. Everyone can do their own budgeting, and they can provide the data to the main in charge people who have a top level information. And that is how they can collaborate together to see what the data is, and how they can make better decisions for the company. So it's a very collaborative tool, and it's a continuous process. So they can keep on continuing, they can keep on continuing the budgeting, they can keep the forecast running for several years, and it's a continuous process. So you don't have to keep on doing changes. The tool will take care of it. You have to just mention that how many years this particular tool should perform. It should be a 3-year forecast, or it should be a 5-year forecast, or it should be more than that. So you need to specify it before, and then once you do it, it is just a continuous process. So once you model it, once you configure it, you don't have to bother it for several years. So it's continuous, and it's collaborative process. Okay, so any questions on the first 2 points? So we have covered these 2 points.
We're good.
Good.
Good. Okay. So the third point is real-time analysis. So when I say real-time analysis, It's simple. So whenever you change any data, let's say you have made a lot of changes in the May data. So let's say you are doing a lot of changes in the current month, which is May month, and you want to see the real-time information about the charts also and about the important KPIs also. So there are many companies follow certain KPIs. Okay, so let's say there was a lot of attrition in your Australia stores. Okay, so you understand that this was the attrition percentage that happened in this particular store and how you can bring in new employees. Okay, so if you make that particular changes, what happens for the next month? So in June month, do we have enough resources in Australia region to take care of the stores? Okay, so such kind of things are very, very important, and that's why adaptive planning is very important, that it provides you real-time analysis. So it provides you real-time analysis in adaptive planning platform also, and in the form of Excel also. So you just download the Excel file and you will see the real-time data flowing in the Excel file also. So it's a very important feature, and it's called as Office Connect. If you are aware of that, it's Adaptive Office Connect, and basically it is linked to adaptive. So it becomes a simple Excel file, and you just have a login section here, login to adaptive, and you have to enter the credentials, and now Excel file will behave like a adaptive planning tool for you. So this is called as Office Connect for you. Okay, so this is the fourth USP of this tool, that why adaptive planning is different from some other EPM tools. Okay, and because of this 3 points, the fourth point becomes the fourth and the fifth point becomes very, very easily, and you can understand it easily, that because of it is a continuous process, because it is easy, because it is powerful, because it is fast, and because real-time analysis is possible, you as a company head, you can make better decisions, you can make faster decisions. Okay, so let's say you did not opt for adaptive planning and you keep on continuing the Excel file. Oh, that's called as a traditional method of doing. So now you have 1000 stores, you have 1000 Excel files. So to analyze the 1000 stores, you will take a lot of time. It is too difficult, it is too tedious, it is so time consuming that you will not be able to make better decision at a top level. Okay, so let's say Brian at the top level of Australia has the database of 100 stores of Australia, but he is not able to make a final decision that what he needs to improve for the Australia stores so that he can generate more profit in Australia, right? So you need important KPIs to be reflecting very, very quickly for you, and that's how Brian will be helpful with that information, and he will be able to make better decision, and he will be able to make faster decisions. So he will not waste his time on the Excel file. He will just simply enter the data in adaptive planning and see what the adaptive planning is going to give it back to you. Sounds good? So this is why you are able to make better and faster decision, because you are opting for adaptive planning, and it is always going to be reliable. The forecasting method, the formulas that you are going to enter, it is always reliable because you are mentioning a logic and the logic will do it for you. Okay, and the next part is powerful reports. So when I say powerful reports, so let's say in you are selling this particular product. Okay, in the month of let's say you created a profit of $60,000 in the month of January. So let's say you want to further know that how many products were contributing to this particular profit. So you go to that product, then how many sub products you are contributing to that, or if you want to see which salesman made a lot of profit, or if you want to see gender wise, so which sales gender has made a lot of profit. So all such kind of deep level analysis, it's possible in adaptive planning. Okay, so that's why it's called as reliable forecast and powerful reports. Okay, so you need to understand these 5 points, that why adaptive planning is so important and how it is different from other tools. Okay, so it is not following a traditional way of planning. It is a EPM tool. It is a very active it is an active planning it is an active planning tool, and this is the USP of that particular tool. Okay, any questions here before me move ahead?
No questions here.
No,
You
no
got
thanks.
anything?
Okay, so will you be able to recollect this example of a simple example, and then will you be able to recollect that if you keep on expanding the stores in your country, you will understand that the manpower is increasing, the data is increasing, the complications are increasing, the formula writing is increasing, then several models need to be linked to be to each other, correct? So the moment you see several complications are coming, you understand that you cannot function in the Excel file. You need a enterprise performance tool so that it takes care of such things. Correct. So this is the main purpose, because if you keep on continuing with the Excel file, the data will not be reliable. There could be cases that out of 100 stores, 80 people worked hard and they worked smart and they gave you the right data, but the 20 people are going to create chaos for you, and that's why the data is not going to be reliable at the top level. Correct. So and the moment the 100 store becomes to 1000 stores, the complications will keep on increasing, right? So you cannot keep a track on so many little things. You want the tool to do it for yourself, and you just change the logic once and it will be reflecting for all the 1000 stores. That's the beauty of adaptive planning. So let's say if you want to change the logic of this, it will be doing it for all the 1000 stores, and the profit and loss will be computed accordingly. So like that, it's very fast. It will not take a lot of time when you switch on to adaptive planning, and then you will not have to compromise your lot of time in handling such Excel files. Correct. You just have to enter the data in adaptive planning, and adaptive planning will be there to give you the real-time analysis and the powerful reports, and then you can make better decisions. So this is what you should keep in mind, that in the introduction section, we learned about this business model and what were the complications, and why adaptive planning is going to help us. Okay, so similar to us, there could be several other businesses that, and there will be several other problems that they are facing, and that is the reason why they are also jumping to adaptive planning. Okay, so there could be other multiple reasons also apart from this, what we just covered here. We just covered on the Excel file thing, but there could be several other cases why the other companies are opting for adaptive planning. Okay, so what is adaptive planning? It's very simple. It's a enterprise performance management tool. It is not going to follow the traditional way of planning. It is not going to use Excel files, but it is going to use a similar kind of a tool which behaves in the form of Excel file for you. And it's a basically real-time analysis kind of a tool. So we call it as active planning. So basically, the key you keep on making changes to the tool, and the tool is going to work for you. Okay, so that's why we call it as active planning. Okay, so far it's good.
So far, so good.
Yes. So, like Kobe said just now, that he is dealing with certain kind of financial information in your system, but there could be HR data also. There could be sales data also. There could be operational data also, depending on the client that you're working. So EPM, so adaptive planning can do the budgeting and forecasting of all kind of financial information, of all kind of workforce data, of all kind of sales data. So you can see that even headcount planning is possible in adaptive planning, even the workforce capacity planning, that how many people you require to handle this stores. You will make certain kind of plan, right, for every month, for every year. So this year you need these many resources to handle that particular store. So you will do some kind of capacity planning for each region, for each city, for each country. Correct. So adaptive planning gives you the platform to do that particular thing. Similarly, quota planning is also possible, and budgeting and forecasting is definitely possible for each one of the planning that you're going to do, and then analysis and reporting of that particular information, which is why adaptive planning is preferred by many people. So for analysis and reporting, we have dashboards, we have metrics reports, we have model reports, and we have Office Connect reports. Okay, so we will be learning in this lecture when you see the syllabus kind of thing, so everything that is highlighted in green color is your reporting and analysis part. Okay, and everything that is highlighted in yellow color is the model building part. Is that you're building the models, you are getting the data inside those model, and then once the data is inside the model, then only you will do the analysis. Okay, so what is adaptive planning and why we are using adaptive planning? I hope that is clear to you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
so yeah, the next question will arise to you is who is using this particular tool, right? So if you're building some kind of budgeting exercises, some kind of forecasting exercises, so you should understand that who are the end users for this particular tool. So you know that the business owners are there, you know that financial planning analyst people are there. There will be sales people, there will be sales manager, there will be operational manager, some kind of workforce manager also there will be there. So all such people and the end users who are going to come in the store. So let's say your customer representative, they know how many products were sold, so they will be also using this particular tool. So the moment you build the adaptive planning model, you know that who are your end users. Okay, so who are the end users of your adaptive planning? This is the answer. Okay, so with this we complete what, who, and why of adaptive planning. You should always remember this example, the complications, and then what, who, and why will definitely help you on the longer run, basically, that why adaptive planning is beautiful and why it is so easy than other two. Okay, so any questions on these three important questions?
So far, so good.
No.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
So you understood now what, who, and why, and now there is the main question that, okay, I know what is my complications. I know what adaptive can offer. I know why adaptive is beautiful. So your next questions will be these things. Okay, these three things that I've highlighted in the screen. So you need to understand the business model of your company. So at the moment, let's say you are building an adaptive planning implementation for your client. So you need to understand how the business model is doing. So our business model was pretty simple, right? We are buying it from the vendors, we are selling it to customers, we are generating some kind of profit, and we are doing it at various stores, okay, in various countries. Our business model was very simple. But now if you are told to work for a client, so that client will be having a different revenue system, that client will be having a different expenses system, correct? And that's how the profit and loss statement, the logic will be different. So you need to understand what is the business model of your client. Okay, because you have been hired by that company to implement that particular thing in adaptive planning, correct? So your first focus is understand how they are generating the revenue. You should understand what are their expenses, and then what are the different kind of models that they are using. Okay, so you need to understand the business model, and then you need to understand the requirements of each model. So let's say there are 10 to 15 models that they are doing. So you have to sit with the customer and try to understand each model one at a time. There will be different sessions conducted with you guys, and every session will be constructed in such a way, and you have to list down the requirements by model. Okay, so let's say you are connecting with them to understand the balance sheet model, and the second day you are conducting to understand the PNL model, the third day you are meeting them to understand the cash flow model, and so on. Okay, the list will keep on going. So you are the implementer now, you need to understand the requirements from the client. Okay, and once you understand the business model, then you understand the requirements, then you need to identify the foundational elements. So we have this 10 elements in adaptive planning. So you need to able to correlate. It's just like, okay, so if they have several such placeholders, so you should be able to correlate that, okay, this should be an account, okay, no, this should be a level structure, this should be a dimension, this should be a attribute, these are the currencies that the company is following. So if they are using so many currencies, that means you need those many exchange rate also, and the time, and the levels also. So these are the 8 elements. So if you can read with me, The first element is time, account, level, and version, and then the dimension, attribute, currency, and exchange rate. So you should always remember the 8 elements of adaptive planning. Okay, so the interview question and certification question. What are the 4 foundational key elements without which adaptive planning cannot be done? So the answer to this is these 4 things. So time, account, level, and version are the 4 mandatory default elements. So you should keep this in mind that without these 4 elements, you cannot do anything in adaptive planning. Okay, so can someone volunteer and speak what are the 4 mandatory foundational elements of adaptive planning?
Well, sorry. Well, one, I mean, time.
Yes,
You should be able to know what time frame you are reporting
correct.
your data,
Yes,
and then what accounts do you want it to be, whether
correct,
it should be in the balance sheet accounts, income statement accounts, or
correct,
cash flow accounts. And what are the levels? The
correct,
levels simply means, are you doing at the entity level
correct.
or at the unit level? By unit, you're doing like marketing, sales, and other unit that you have. And then for the version, I would say, what version do you want? Do you want the actual version, which actually look into the actual numbers?
Perfect.
Let's say your sales cost, actual cost, or you're looking at forecasting or budgeting or any other manual entries that you want to add. So that makes it too important, because I think to be able to have a good module, all these things needs to come into play before you can move
Perfect.
ahead.
Perfect. Correct, Kobe. I think you just explained it well. So these are the 4 default mandatory elements of adaptive planning which you need to have in the system. And the next 4 elements are the optional systems, because by default there are certain things basically everything is recorded in US dollars. So unless and until you have in your system you have different countries, then only the currency and exchange rate becomes mandatory for you. Okay, but if let's say if you don't have any other countries reporting to you, so you don't even require currencies and exchange rate. But in our case, in our business model, so let's say we go to our business model and let's say try to understand what are the 8 elements that we are facing here. Okay, so let's say I go to my business model. Okay, so I'm going to write that this Excel model is belonging to Brian. Okay, he is from Australia. Okay, okay, and Brian is a male. Okay, so we have listed down all the placeholders. We are recording certain kind of things. Okay, so we have different countries in India. We have different cities. Okay, let's say we have Australia also now. Okay, and I'll just write Australia again, and the currency will be Australian dollars. Okay. So if you focus now, we have India, we have USA, we have Australia. 3 countries are there. Then we have the cities inside those 3 countries, and then we have the individual currencies. Okay. So India will be attached to a different currency because India always reports their currencies in INR. USA always reports their currencies in US dollars, and Australia will always report their currency in Australian dollars. Okay. So whatever data is going to be captured, it will be captured in the local currency. So this is, we call it as your local currency, but your parent currency will always be US dollars. Okay. So you should always keep that in mind, and we will do that in depth. Okay. So now what I'm trying to do is, this is our business model. Now, can you try to identify from the sheet what are the 4 foundational elements that we have used in the screen. So I've already highlighted it, but you can just try to see that. I'll just highlight it now. So this is the January to December data. So looking at this particular intersection, what comes in your mind? So you will see certain placeholders mentioned here. You will see certain time frames here, and then as I said, this data belongs to Brian. This is from Australia information, and the India data will be different, or the US data will be different, but the template will remain same. Okay. So now can someone tell me what is the significance of this number, which I've highlighted in the screen? What is the significance of this number, which is 100? What it is exactly trying to tell you? What is this 100 number? It's very simple. You just have to read what you see in the screen. What is this 100 number telling you? What information is this?
We've purchased 100 products in April of 22.
Yes. So it's 100 products purchased in April 22 in which region?
In,
Can you tell me which city, or can you tell me which country?
let me see, in Australia.
Yes. So I mentioned in the top that Brian is handling this particular Excel file, and this data is from Australia. So now can you again reframe what is the significance of this 100 number?
So that is the number of products purchased in April of 2022 in Australia.
And who is handling it? Brian is handling it.
Brian
Okay.
is handling that. Yeah.
Okay. So now looking at, so what year are we? We are in 2023. And what year is this? 2022.
2022.
So what do you understand? What is the fourth element?
That's the historical data.
Perfect. Perfect. So what do you call the historical data? So which?
That's the actual.
Perfect. Perfect. So actuals. So now can you tell me what is the significance of this 100 number altogether? That becomes our 4 elements. So 100 is what?
It's the number of products purchased last year in Australia, actual. The actual.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So let me just write what you just said here. So I'm just going to write here. So 100 is the number of products purchased in the month of April 2022 in the city or country Australia. Okay. And this is historical information. So it should be loaded in actuals version. Okay. And this Excel is handled by Brian. Okay, so let me just do this. Okay. So now if you come here and read this, okay, I'll highlight this in yellow for you. So this is the significance that you have mentioned. So now in the screen itself, you will see that you made a simple Excel file, but there are 4 elements which you said that it's the significance. So the first element was number of products purchased. Okay. So this is the number of products purchased. Then the second element you said was April 2022. Then the third element you said was your Australia. And the fourth element you said was your actuals. Okay. So basically, all of these placeholders are called as accounts. So accounts becomes your first element. Okay. So number of products purchased is your account, and that is your first element in this particular model. Okay. Then you say that we have the time frame here also, and this 100 belongs to April, this 100 belongs to May, this 100 belongs to June. Okay, so you know that April is also there, you know May, June, July is also there. So time becomes your second element, correct? Then you come and tell me that this data belongs to Australia region, because I said that this Excel is being handled by Brian in Australia. Okay, so this becomes the levels. So Australia is a level. It's an organization hierarchy in the system, and we will cover this in a deep way tomorrow or in the next lecture. But as of now, you need to understand that this was our structure, right? We have India, USA, Australia. In India, we have several cities, several currencies attached to that, but we have three different countries, and then it rolls up to our parent company. Okay, so we have Australia. That means this is our organization structure, and we in adaptive, the organization structure is called as levels. Okay, now I tell you that this particular information is the actuals data. So where will you load this particular actual data? It's loaded in the version. It's loaded in the actuals version. Okay, so you load the data in the actuals version, and from January 23 onwards to December, you create a new version. You call that as a planning version, you call that as a forecasting version. Okay, so in adaptive, where you can create such version, we can create a version inside an element which is called as version. So you can create actual version, you can create plan version, you can create budgeting versions, you can create forecasting versions. Okay, so this data will be stored in actuals version, correct? And this will be your forecasted version data. Okay, so what is the significance of this number? This is the significance. So you can see that account is there, time is there, levels is there, and version is there. Okay, so this way you are able to build this particular model in adaptive also. So far so clear? That's why I'm trying to say that you should always remember this simple example, because it becomes very easy to understand what are the four elements in adaptive. So far it's good?
So far, so
So
good
far, so good.
Okay,
with me.
so anyone can tell me what are the four elements? Like, I mean, can Brian tell me what are the four mandatory elements? It's important so that we are interactive, because it will be a kind of revision for you also. So can Brian tell me, or can Andrew tell me what are the four mandatory elements?
Let's see if I can remember them. Time,
Okay.
location. Is that
Yes,
one?
we call that levels.
Levels. Yep.
Yes.
Currency and exchange were not.
So you can look at here just as a
Yeah.
reference.
Time, value.
A value is
Is
a value.
or
No.
number.
No, value is the number. Basically, we are trying to understand what are the four mandatory elements. So you can see that I have already written what is the first element, accounts. So basically,
accounts.
yes.
Yeah. Oh,
So
I
we
see it
call
now.
them
Yeah,
as
yeah.
accounts, yeah, placeholders.
Yeah, that's right. So accounts, time,
then
levels, and then versions.
yes, because this is an actuals data and this becomes your forecasted data. Okay.
Yeah, correct.
So actuals data is loaded in actuals version, and forecasted data is loaded in forecast version. So like that,
Yes.
we have different versions in adaptive planning. Okay.
That's right. Yep.
Okay. So now I will try to cover the fifth and the sixth element. Okay. So Australia will have which currency? It will have Australian dollars, right? So it will be attached to this particular currency. But when the parent, when we are going to view the data at parent company, it will translate the information from Australia to US dollars, right? So that's why we need the exchange rates also in the system, because you need the conversion from Australian dollar to US dollars and vice versa, correct? Similarly, in India, we are going to record the currencies in INR format. Okay, so we will have to create a new currency for India, and we will be creating that in adaptive planning as INR. And then for exchange rates, it is mandatory to have both exchange rate mentioned in the system, which is INR to USD and USD to INR. The conversion should be mentioned in the system. Okay, so in our business model, the fifth and the sixth element becomes important also. You understand?
Yes.
But let's say if this is not there, And I'm telling you that even the Indian region are going to do in US dollars, even the USA people are going to do in US dollars, and even the Australia cities are going to do in US dollars. So in this case, do you require any kind of currencies? Do you require any kind of exchange rates? The answer is no. Because by default, in adaptive, US dollar is the only currency available, and all the reporting happens in US dollars. So there is no requirement.